Welcome to this week's new coffee release. Today it is Pocos de Caldas. Every week I bring out a new coffee and I release it to our retail customers and our coffee subscribers online. In these videos I'll describe to you how I roasted the coffee, I'll do an analytical tasting, and I'll put forward some suggestions about how you should brew this at home. A large proportion of the coffee that we source are through our long-term coffee partners Falcon Speciality, and Pocos de Caldas is exactly one of those. For those of you who are interested, I've taken information provided to us by Falcon and I've put it in the description below. There's also a link to their website should you want to know a little bit more about Falcon Speciality in the UK. Right, with those bits out of the way, let's get into how I roasted the coffee this week. Like most weeks, I've done 3 batches of this coffee and they were all performed in our Loring S15 Falcon. Some of the incidentals of the roast were that I started with a 12 kilo load mass. I do this in every single batch that I roast, and that is so that I have consistency in my input temperatures. I've chosen to take a pyramid heat application approach with this coffee as I'm feeling that this is where I'm getting more solubility out of each of the roasts. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a subsequent video. This coffee is a natural and honey processed coffee, so I wanted to have a relatively short roast time for me, and that is somewhere between 9 and 9.5 minutes. That's the sort of zone where I feel comfortable that I can get good development and good solubility inside of the cup. So of the 3 coffees, I had 2 roasts that were 9 minutes and 32 in total roast time and 1 at 9 minutes and 35 seconds. Each of these roasts had a target of 214 degrees Celsius, which is a little lower than I would do with our Pantano, one of our core coffees. So 2 of the batches here were 214.2 as an end temperature and 1 at 214.4. As I described, each of the batches had a pyramid heat application, which you can see on the screen now, and as per my general mantra, I wanted to have an ever-declining roast curve, which is pretty evident in the 3 curves that we've got here. Each of the curves in themselves, the actual bean temperature curves, show a very tight alignment with each other. So all in all, I was really happy with the consistency across these 3 batches. Just to round this data off, I wanted to make sure that each of the roasts post first crack development time was sub 1 minute and 30, but a little beyond 1 minute 25. So as you can see on the screen, we had a spread between 1 minute and 27 and 1 minute and 29 seconds. And in each of these times, post first crack, I feel that I get a good balance within the cup. So talking about what's in the cup, let's dive into the tasting. When tasting coffee, you're going to do so in 2 different ways. You're going to first want to capture the aroma composition, and second, then you're going to have a taste. And you'll bring those 2 things together to form an overall view of the coffee. So the aroma of this has a prevailing stone fruit sweetness. You can really smell it inside of the cup. And I'm sure that's going to give us a really great indication as to the experience that we're going to have on our palate when we taste it. So let's dig in. Okay, so the first thing that you note with this is it's really quite round. There's a little tickle of acidity, but there's not too much. That little tickle of acidity will give us an indication as how we could brew this a little further down the track. In flavor descriptors, you're going to get lots of stone fruits. Purple stone fruits and dark rich brown stone fruits like figs and plum, like a Victoria plum. It's very sweet. The texture in this is really great as well. It's syrupy and coating on the mouth, which is an expectation of pretty much all coffees from Brazil, especially if they're naturally processed, or in this case, both a natural and a honey processed coffee. On the finish, you're going to get those sweet stone fruits and then a rich dark chocolate coming together, colliding together almost. It is really wonderful and long on your palate. It sits around with this rich, unctuous dark chocolate for ages and is an absolute delight. In synopsis, expect stone fruits in plum and then sweet figs and a rich dark chocolate on the finish. It's soft, smooth, and it has lots of body. It is going to be one of those really versatile coffees to brew with. So let's talk about the brewing. I mentioned a few moments ago about the acidity. The acidity in this is really nice and rounded. It's there, but it's not a huge part of the cup profile, which would mean that this coffee would work wonderfully well for those who like to prepare their beverages by espresso. This would pair exceptionally well with milk. The dark chocolates and the stone fruit and that sweet fig would really come together. Go full fat, even better, go gold top, because all of that fat and sweetness with the milk and this coffee together would be a delight. I have prepared this as a batch filter brew, and inside of this you get a little bit more of those complexities. So for those people who enjoy coffees that are opened up, that are more complex, do choose filter-based brewing for that. For those of you who enjoy things like Chemex or AeroPress or Clever Dripper or even a stovetop mocha pot, this coffee would work wonderfully well in that. In all of those, you're going to get more body come through. You'll get probably a bit more pronounced sweetness as well. For me as a coffee roaster and retailer, this is one of those delightful coffees that you can suggest to anybody and have them brew it in any apparatus. And that was Pocos de Caldas, a mixed cultivar, honey and natural processed coffee from Brazil. I hope this video has been useful. There'll be another coffee release next week, so do tune in for that one. In the meantime, if you want to try this coffee at home, you're very welcome to visit the links to our website below. It's also available at Beverley Market every Saturday whilst it's still here, and you'll be able to pick it up from the roastery. We're open between 9 and 5 p.m. Monday to Friday. Until next time, you have a great week and do enjoy your coffee.